Every time a shooting happens, politicians get up, whether it's Joe Biden, whether it's Barack Obama, whether it's George Bush, pick them. We need universal background checks. We need to close the gun show loophole. We need to ban high capacity magazines. We need to ban assault rifles. We need red flag laws. Those talking points have been said for years. After Uvalde happened at Robb Elementary, Matthew McConaughey, the actor, got on and cried at the White House and said, "We've got to do better, people." What have we done since then? Nothing. None of these things matter. We're not taking people's guns away. We don't want big government telling us what to do. So I wrote a bill and I talked to a couple of legislators. There was a bill they tried a few years ago, got killed right away. And basically, to try to tap into resources in our school systems in Idaho, there's a couple outliers that are already doing it because the law in Idaho says you can have a gun on campus and faculty can carry. However, there's a provision in there that the school boards and the districts can deny. And so when you have areas like Boise, West Ada, and some of these other areas, they're never going to authorize a teacher in a school with a gun, ever. And you're pick an area where there's a town of 1,000 people or 500 people, that school's probably going to have armed personnel. So the goal behind the bill was to take that provision away from the district to be able to say, no, you're not carrying a gun in the school, because you're basically creating a sheep's pen. Why is it that a school right over here can carry it and have somebody extra in there, but this school can't? And from what I saw personally, what I've seen across the country, Covenant School in Nashville last year, they had an active shooter. It took them about 8 minutes to get to the school. There was no SRO. Cops did an absolutely outstanding, phenomenal job. There's video out. You can watch it, the body cam. They got there. They didn't hesitate. They grabbed rifles. They went in, and they put her down, the shooter. But she'd already killed kids and faculty. 8 minutes is a long time. These things end in the first couple minutes. And 95% of these guys and girls that go into these schools to do these mass shootings, that go into these stores and these malls and these churches and stuff, they've already made their mind up. They're on a suicide mission. They're either going to kill themselves or they're going to get killed by a cop, and they know that. Very rarely you will see it. The Oxford shooters in custody just pled, took life. The Parkland shooter, he fled with kids. He mixed into the crowd and fled. But if you start looking at the rest of them, they're all dead, all of them. We've got to do something different, because if there's no cop at a school, if we don't have an SRO and cops are 2, 3, 5, 10 minutes away, who's protecting that school? Who? We could put a metal detector at the front door. Say we do. It's great. It's a step. We don't want to turn our schools into prisons either. We don't want guard towers and raise our fences. This is Idaho. What do we do different? Metal detector. Active shooter, mentality, killer, murderer, animal comes to that metal detector and it goes off and they've got a gun. Who's addressing it? There's no cop. What are they going to do? So if we have, and I know we do, retired law enforcement, retired military, we have people that hunt, that have hunted their whole lives, proficient with firearms, why can we not approach that issue with tangible, something different besides universal background checks and banning guns that mean nothing, and find one or two faculty members, whether they're a football coach, a math teacher, the custodian who did 3 tours in Iraq? Why can't we find a few people, two, one's better than none, that are armed? And I hear all the pushback. I get it. They're there to teach. They're not there to be cops. I understand all that. But history's telling us that that doesn't matter. You can hide behind a desk. You can hide in a closet. You can plead for your life. The Perry High School principal tried talking that shooter down 3 weeks ago. The guy put 3 rounds into him. He lived for a week or whatever in the hospital. He died in the hospital. The principal did. He tried talking the shooter down. You can't talk a mass murderer down. It is not like trying to talk to somebody who, beat their wife and now they're apologetic and the alcohol's wearing off and they understand what. These are psychopathic murderers that you're dealing with. They will kill. I don't care if it's a 3-year-old, 5-year-old, 10-year-old kid. Please don't. They're going to put rounds into them. It's for the shock value. And with the border wide open, that's a whole nother animal. We don't even know who's in our country. Schools are soft targets. Churches are soft targets. But what you're seeing, churches are arming up. A lot of churches now have armed people in the congregation every single worship day. And we say that our teachers are important. We say we support them. A lot of people even bang the drum. They need to get paid more. They don't get paid enough. All these other things that we hear. And as We're talking right now. I don't know if you got kids in school. I do. And what I told the committee yesterday, everybody's got kids and grandkids somewhere, and they're in those schools. And we are trusting those teachers as we sit to be in custody of our kids, teaching them. They're in their classrooms. They have their classroom rules. They tell them what to do. They grade them. They counsel them. They're role models for them, oftentimes. And now we're saying if Mr. Smith, the math teacher who's done time in Iraq, or he's an ex-cop, or he's a hunter, or whatever, we hand him, here's what's your favorite gun? Okay, I want to carry a 38. Okay, well then carry a 38. It's something. Now we can't trust Mr. Smith anymore. Now he's out of control. He's a danger. He's scary. He's mean. He's a potential killer. He's going to drop the gun. He's going to shoot people. But 5 minutes ago, when we paint Mr. Smith as our teacher who currently has our kids and he's teaching them math and he's teaching them and he's a role model, now we enter the gun and he's a dirtbag. Can't touch him. It doesn't make any sense. So I get that it's controversial. I get that it's outside the box. I get it. I get that it's pushing the envelope. But I would much rather push the envelope and give these kids a fighting chance. When Eva Morales was the teacher in one of them in Uvalde at Robb Elementary, her husband was a cop outside. He was one of the ones. He was the one that was on the cell phone that they put all over the news, trying to paint him like he was a idiot and he's sitting there worrying about texting. That was his wife and him. She was in the classroom. He wanted to go in. They had to restrain him and get him out of the scenario because of the coward that was running that operation that would not let the officers go in. I know what I would have done. Can never second guess it now. What I do second guess is she's a cop's wife. She's probably grown up around guns with him, however long that they were married. We all shoot with our wives. It's a fun thing families do together. What if she had a gun that day? She was in there texting him. She was shot already. She was giving him a play-by-play. She was asking him for help. Why aren't you guys coming in? Why aren't you guys coming in? She had that gun. We'll never know. But my whole point of this bill and why I was so passionate about it, looking at Eva Morales, is her personally, is why not have her death be in vain? Why not make a bold choice to make a change in how we operate? The guns aren't going away. The psychopaths aren't going away. Kids are always going to be bullied and loners and ostracized and have their reasons, video game influence. They're all going to have these psychological, societal reasons for doing the crazy shit that they do. So that's not going away. Empty words aren't going to do anything about it. And if we can do something that the school shooting hasn't happened yet, we know there's going to be more shootings. We can guarantee it. It's disgusting and it's sad, but we know it's going to happen. And Eva Morales, she didn't have a gun that day. She was a cop's wife. She could have made a difference. I'll always think that. But if her death's not in vain, then what if we save the next teacher that's in a classroom in a school somewhere across the state, really the country? I wish the whole country would do it. But this state, there's like 7 states in the country, I think, that are trying to do or have some form of what we got going on, but they have the restrictions that we're trying to do away with here. But you got a teacher in Rigby or in Coeur d'Alene or in Middleton or Lewiston or Twin Falls or Pocatello, and they're in their classroom right now, and God forbid one of these things happen, and that teacher now has a capability and puts a shooter down and saves her kids and herself or himself, it will have learned something. Right now, as we go every day, we haven't learned anything. We are all just sitting around waiting for the next hammer to drop. And then what? We're all going to say the same thing again?